President Trump today praised the Supreme Court decision upholding his travel ban. President Trump released a statement that says in part, quote, "My number one responsibility as Commander-in-Chief is to keep the American people safe. Today's ruling allows me to use an important tool for protecting our nation's homeland. I am also particularly gratified that the Supreme Court's decision was 9-0. Our next guest has been arguing since January that the president clearly has the constitutional authority to call for that travel ban. He says today's high court ruling is a substantial political victory for President Trump. And joining us, Fox News senior judicial analyst, Judge Andrew Napolitano. Judge, great to have you here.
Thank you, Lou.
9-0.
So we were saying in the break, if I had told you 2 weeks ago that Ruth Bader Ginsburg, remember what she said? If Trump got elected, she was going to move to Canada, would have voted for him in the very first case that came before her with his name on it, you would have said, you haven't taken your meds, Judge. But I believe that the Chief Justice, master compromiser that he is, I don't always agree with his compromises, crafted this compromise.
I still haven't forgiven him his Obamacare decision,
right, same
but that's
here.
all right.
But crafted his compromise to get the 9 of them to agree on the essentials of the following. The travel ban stays in place while it is being litigated.
Right.
The lower court's interference with that, those interferences are removed.
That's what struck me in all of that is, you know, just the back of the hand the court gave those district court judges without, you know, saying a word, writing a word. They made short work of those district court judges.
Right. Now, I don't want to burst the balloon, but remember, this is just
no. Give me my illusions about our high court.
Yeah, this is just a preliminary ruling.
Right.
We will get oral argument in October and probably a ruling before Christmas on the nature and extent of the president's authority to do this. But I think you can read between the lines about which way that final ruling will go. Here's another problem I have. The court.
So my bubble is intact.
Your bubble is intact. But the court, by creating these exceptions, if you are an immigrant or a potential immigrant from one of those 6 countries and have a relationship, and I'm going in quotes because it's not defined, with a person or an entity here, then the ban does not apply to you. Justices Thomas.
What in the world did they mean by that?
Whatever they meant, it was necessary to bring Justice Ginsburg and the other justices probably disinclined to go along with this.
So Chief Justice Roberts was herding them into this consensus.
Yes. Now, relationship is very nebulous. In Justice Thomas's partial dissent, he said, you know what you're doing here? You're going to cause thousands of litigations, thousands of federal court trials about what a relationship is and who has one. Justice Gorsuch, who is the court to carve a hole in an executive order written by the president on foreign policy, on immigration, which we have previously ruled is exclusively his to determine?
Gorsuch living up to what all assumed, conservatives all assumed was his potential
yes.
as a justice.
The line you ran on the screen a few minutes ago about the Second Amendment was just a brilliant and terrific distillation of it.
And Justice Thomas living up to what is going to be his legacy, which is defender of conservative thought.
I know you don't want to hear this because he went to Princeton, but my Princeton classmate, Justice Alito, was with them also.
Well, I wouldn't want one of them to move 1 inch away from where they are now.
And the president crowing, he deserves the right to crow on this one.
I thought he was absolutely
been through since January.
You said crowing? I thought this was such a faint crow.
He was.
I think he deserves much more after listening to the idiots in the left-wing media for months now talk about the ban on his ban.
Yeah, it was a happy outcome for him. We'll see what happens in October. I expect a similar outcome.
Making America great again. It's starting to take on solidity.
Is that a Republican tie you're wearing?
It's some would say a very Republican tie. Judge Andrew Napolitano, thanks for being with us.
Pleasure, Lou.